Communications Specialist for the IBM Digital Nation Africa program. I will be presenting the soft skills series. So first, before we get started, I will give you a short introduction to the platform. And at the same time, we will have a poll question. So please answer that. You will see it in probably the next few seconds. Okay. Sorry, we're just putting the poll up for you guys. All right. Okay. So while you answer the poll, I'll quickly walk you through the platform. So with the IBM Digital Nation Africa platform, you can learn. The platform offers a wide range of courses and tools that can help you learn about the latest emerging technologies. You can earn badges, which are IBM digital badges, and these are verified proof of your achievements, and you can also include them in your CV or share them on your social media platforms such as LinkedIn. You can also innovate using the platform. We basically give you inspiration on how to build different solutions, provide you with the foundation of the design thinking process, and then you can actually go ahead and build innovative solutions using the free IBM Cloud Light services. You can also use the platform to find jobs. So the Job Advisor tool is a way for you to search and connect with a pool of jobs that are relevant to your skills. You can search by keywords, location, company, and even job roles. The tool will also perform skill gap analysis, and it can recommend a learning path based on any missing skill that you may have. So let me show you our landing page. Right, okay. So this is our landing page. If you haven't signed up already, please do so by clicking join for free or register for free. And when you scroll down, you'll see that we have 3 journeys. So in the Explorer journey, we provide a series of short videos that are very quick to learn. And they basically introduce you to the key emerging technologies. Then we have the Innovator journey, which will allow you to create your own digital solution. This is where we start off by inspiring you, followed by an introduction to design thinking. And then we have practical project-based courses. And also, this is where you'll get free access to the IBM Cloud Light account. And then we have the New Collar journey, where you can access in-depth courses on emerging technology. And all courses over here are aligned to the latest job roles in the market. So let's get back to the presentation. Okay, I know like sometimes the screen lags, so just give it 1 second. There we go. All right. So I wanted to know from you guys, what do you think a resume is? So to answer, you can use the chat and you can even unmute yourself. All right, anyone? Okay, so I'll just go ahead. So resume is basically, okay, I do have a comment from Alham. To me, a resume is what represents you to the employers. Yeah, that's true. Anyone else?
Hello.
Right. So basically, yeah, it's like a CV. That's interesting. So we're gonna get to that. Another one, a resume is a document that you write to present your skills and educational background. Right, so that's correct. So resume is a document used and created by a person to present their background, skills, and accomplishments, right? And basically, that brings me to my next question, which is, do you think that there is a difference between a CV and a resume? Ronald says no. Okay. Alham says yes. Okay. The same, I think. Sure. One and the same thing. Interesting. So actually, um, it turns out that both of them are different. Okay. So a CV basically provides a summary of your experience and skills, and CVs tend to be much longer than resumes. They're at least 2 to 3 pages. They will include like extensive information on your academic background, degrees, research, awards, publications, all other achievements that you may have done. Okay. Whereas on the other side, resume provides like a summary of your education, work history, credentials, skills, and accomplishments, and but it's very concise. So it usually does not go over a page. Okay, so maximum you'll see it'll go like 2 pages, but that's about it. So it's a more summarized version, whereas CV is very extensive and comprehensive, very lengthy. Okay, so. Right. So here's a fun fact for all of us. Did you know that recruiters take about 8 to 10 seconds to scan your resume before considering an applicant to be shortlisted for an interview? Okay, so that is very fast. 8 to 10 seconds is very fast. So what does this mean? This means that you should be able to catch the recruiter's attention as much as possible in those 8 to 10 seconds, right? So much so that the recruiter would want to actually call you for an interview or go ahead and see your cover letter, right? So you need to think of your resume like a marketing document, okay? So this is when you sit down and when you start to build your resume, don't just list out everything that you have done since, let's say, high school, right? Your resume is your brand, and it needs to have enough content, but relevant content to cover, important career information and highlights, okay? So you got to approach this as a marketing document, and your intent here is to capture the audience's attention, and then influence them to actually invite you in for an interview. So that's how you need to think of it. Now, I'll quickly touch on some of the key components of a resume. I'm sure most of you would already know this, so I won't spend too much time on this. But basically, I also want to highlight over here that this is not written in stone. Okay, sometimes you will come across resumes that have different components as well. So it really depends on a lot of this on the situation. Okay, but more or less, this is what you see. So you will have a contact section followed by a quick summary. You'll have skills, professional experience, education, and then at the last, there's usually volunteer or extracurricular activities. And we'll go over all of this in more detail as we, go in the webinar. So let's start going into the details, okay? When you start writing, so this is like, so for when you start writing your resume, you might want to, keep these tips in mind, okay? So one of the first things is you need to describe your experience using keywords from the job description that you are applying to. Now, keywords are a tool. Keywords are basically, the key that can help recruiters find candidates relevant to a position. Now, here's an interesting fact, okay? Over 75% of the candidates get eliminated by the applicant tracking software. So I don't know if you guys attended the last soft skills webinar that we had. It was how to write your cover letter. So in that, I briefly mentioned how, when you apply online on job posting websites, so on an online job tool, usually what they do is you should upload like a document file of your resume and cover letter because they have a system that picks up keywords, okay? So keywords are very important in your resume and cover letter. And if you don't have them in there, then most likely your resume is not even going to reach the recruiter. All right? So prepare your resume by looking at the terminology used to describe the role and requirements of the job. So when you see a job posting, they write down what skills are required, what background they need, what sort of personality they're looking for. So pick those keywords, okay, and add them to your resume. So that's very, very important. And put those keywords on top of your resume. So in like the summary section, so that the recruiter can immediately catch them. Okay. If you're applying for the roles, just make sure that those keywords reflect those positions. Okay. So putting them on top of the resume can be very, very impactful. Right. Sorry, did not mean to go to the. So also now moving on, another thing you need to do is you need to highlight your most relevant experience first. Okay. So when you're listing your job responsibilities, make sure you write about your most relevant experience first. Okay. So think about which part of your current job is most related to the position that you're applying for. And then you need to prioritize it in the same way. So for example, you can have like the first two bullets or first two lines if you're writing a paragraph, highlighting your biggest accomplishments. And how you can do it, you can probably use a statistic in your first sentence and then describe a soft skill in the second sentence, such as communication or something. So this way, if those are the only 2 points that they're going to read, it will showcase what to do, and it will show that you're not just technical, but you also have some sort of soft skills, right? Avoid listing irrelevant experience. So one of the most common mistakes is that candidates sometimes list a very, very outdated and irrelevant experience, okay, that isn't necessary for the job that they're applying to. So if you're going to be using your past experience to apply for, let's say you have a lot of jobs shortlisted and you will be applying for different roles, make sure that for each role, your resume is geared to that specific role. So like I said, just go into the job descriptions of each of those jobs, and you need to, tailor your resume that way. And I know that sounds extremely like it's extremely tedious and lengthy process, but trust me, it's worth it. And this is why I always encourage everybody to not apply just anywhere. Only apply to places that you really, really want to work in. Okay. This way, it will be less of a task, and you will actually put in time to tailor your resume accordingly. Now, obviously, if you're early in your career, not maybe there's not much work experience that you can say relates to this specific job. So in that case, you can kind of like make your experience tell a story. So what I mean by that is you can talk about your ability to commit to a job for a long period of time, or you can just talk about simply that you what sort of experience you gained, even if it's like a very small job, okay? As long as it proves a point. So that is what's very important. Use statistics wherever possible. So we need to talk about results, okay? And statistics are very, very powerful. Numbers just tend to stand out, okay? And with the average recruiter anyway spending like 8 to 10 seconds scanning your resume, numbers can really, really make a difference. So writing that, for example, you increase sales just will not tell the recruiter anything about what you've done. But if you write, oh, I increased the company's sales by 35%, that will really, have an impact, right? Use your hobbies to show your personality, okay? So candidates usually, you must have seen there's a section at the bottom that says where people list out volunteer or hobbies, activities, and stuff. So the way to do it is that although you list down what you like, but also give it some sort of meaning, okay? So describe it, and say why you're motivated to spend your time on that activity. So don't just say, oh yeah, in my free time I play basketball, or I like basketball. No, that's not really enough. Okay. You need to talk about why you're involved in that activity, what value it adds to your life. Okay, so that tends to give a much better picture of you as an employee, of your personality, and that is something that's always appreciated by the employer. Another important thing is, just using the right words, impactful words, right? So you can always use the dictionary or the thesaurus. And sometimes what happens is like we want to use the same word many times. So how you can do this is that obviously look for synonyms for the same word so that you don't sound very repetitive. And how I do it is that I actually use Microsoft Word. So it gives you an option of choosing different synonyms. So you can just do that. Right. Of course, your resume needs to be extremely visually appealing and attractive. And I don't mean that now you need to go and color your resume red and blue, but it needs by visually appealing. I mean it needs to be neat and clean. Okay, so nothing that's very hard for the eyes to read. So if it's super crowded and if it's everywhere all over the place, it's not gonna work. Just make sure it's nice and is neat, organized, consistent, has a list of all your achievements and responsibilities, very nicely done, okay? Proofread. Of course, that is very, very important. I even mentioned this with the cover letter. Once you're done making all the changes, revise it, then read it out loud to yourself, revise it again, give it to your friend, ask your friend to go over it for you. Very important, guys. And once you're done with doing that, pair it up with an awesome cover letter, because a combination of a strong resume with a strong cover letter can really, really increase your chances of landing that interview. So let me ask you this, okay? Have a look at this and tell me, do you think that this is a good or a bad example of a resume? So tell me. All right, the government says not the best one. Anyone else? Good, not so good. Okay, it's bad. All right, not good. All right, so this is actually not a great example of what your resume should look like. Okay, and let me touch on some of the points and explain why. Okay, so take a look at the email address over here. Okay, it's sending all the wrong signals. So we have it like right here. Okay, sending all the wrong signals. This is like a very, very childish email address. It says like kegstan.allstar@gmail.com. And it's not going to send the right sort of message to the employers. Okay, so this is something you probably created when you were in high school and were new to the internet. Okay, and over here, I'd like to tell you a very interesting fact. 76% of the resumes are rejected because of unprofessional emails. Okay, so I would just recommend creating one professional email address that is reserved for your networking and job searching activities, and make it very simple, like maybe your first name, last name at hotmail.gmail.com, something like that. So, anyways, coming back to this, it's also missing a URL to their LinkedIn profile. Okay, so see, nowadays, when social media is so important and almost everybody is on the internet, there's so much information out there for you to actually build a professional looking, fully fleshed out LinkedIn profile. Okay, and So, okay, I'll just quickly answer Salma's question over here because it's related to our slide right now. So she's saying, what is meant by unprofessional email? So Salma, over here, like how you can see, it says like kexstan.allstar@email.com. Like it's not a professional email. I mean, it would be way more professional if he said christopher.tiller@gmail.com. So something that's not childish. So for example, tinkerbell@gmail.com, or redrose@gmail.com, or things that addresses that you've made in the past, and so those are not professional. Yeah, but if it's like your real name, like Nishat is saying, yes, of course. So it would be like Nishat something, Nishat first name dot last name @gmail.com. Anything like that. That is fine, but not funny things like these. Right. Okay, so coming back to this, I was talking about the LinkedIn profile. If you're interested, by the way, to know more about the LinkedIn profile, we will be having another webinar on Monday next week. So do join that if you're interested to know how you can create a good profile for that. But a study actually found out, that 93% of the recruiters are likely to search for a candidate's social media account. And let me tell you, this is something that we do in the professional world all the time as well. I mean, when we want to know more about somebody, I would also give like a quick search on LinkedIn, okay? So it is very important, and you can probably like put it over here somewhere, okay? Now, another problem is the objective is extremely generic, all right? It doesn't tell the reader anything about his job or his qualification. You need to replace this sort of information, okay, with something that indicates your job goal. So like probably add like 2 or 3 lines that explains exactly what role you're targeting and why you're qualified for that position. So this is where you're going to pick keywords from the job description, remember guys, and then you're going to create an objective tailored to the position that you're applying to. All right. It also includes information from high school, right? So guys, that was very, very long ago. So we need to forget about that. Employers are very much interested in learning about what you've been doing during your college, okay? And so we need to focus on that and not what happened way in the past. Plus, it's just going to take like extra space on a resume. So no need to add high school here. So over here, if you can see, this person is talking about his current job, and everything is in past tense, okay? And this is his current job. So if you're presently working, so of course it needs to be present tense, that this is what I'm doing. And past tense should only be used for previous jobs, right? Now, the work experience over here, right, that we see, it definitely needs a lot more working. Okay, so what I mean by this, that sometimes, like over here, he has just like bullet points, like stock books, or I manage the front desk, and that's it. There's no explanation. And I know that it can be very, very challenging to describe your summer job, or to describe jobs that have nothing to do with your professional goals. But guys, always remember, okay, that every single job that you do requires some sort of skill, okay? So take some time and reevaluate all of your jobs and think about what skills you learned, okay? So for example, maybe you worked part-time at a library, and you may think, oh, that's not relevant. That was just a small job that I did. But as a matter of fact, it might have taught you organization skills, right? It might have taught you customer service skills, right? It might have even taught you how to pay attention to details. And these are very, very big things that you need in the professional world. There are also spelling errors on this resume. So that is very important. We need to make sure that, after you're done writing your resume, you take some time to review it, then review it again. And like I mentioned before, ask your friends, ask everybody to review it. The dates are not consistent here. So, for example, in some places, he's mentioning months like June 2011, and then in other places, he's mentioning like summer 2010. So, either you mention seasons or you mention particular dates, month and date, or whatever. Okay, but don't it's not a hard and fast rule, but you need to be consistent. However you choose to do it, just be consistent. References and not needed, guys. You only have like one page for your resume, especially being an entry level candidate. So don't waste any of your very, very precious space on your resume by listing your references. Because, anyways, when you go for an interview, and if they need any sort of reference, trust me, they will ask you. So you don't need to write like references available on request. Just leave that part out completely. Right. So let me show you a good example, okay? And let's try and understand why this is good. Now, as you can see over here, it contains the link to his professional profile. And as I discussed, all graduates should have at least one profile, for their personal brand. And if you're in a more creative field like arts, or if you're like some developer, UX designer, something like that, you can actually create an online portfolio, right? And you should then put the link of that website along with your LinkedIn URL. These things are very important, like they add a lot of value. The professional summary over here, it's not fluffy, okay? So what I mean by that is that a lot of times people will just throw in very fancy words such as like, oh, I'm very proactive, a very, very motivated individual, and I'm extremely responsible, I have leadership qualities, things like that. But to be honest, these are words that almost you will see on every other resume. Everybody uses them. So now recruiters don't tend to be so impressed with it. So what you need to do is, be more detailed about what you have done, okay? So explain how you are a great leader. Like, what have you done? Like, what was the impact of, you being a great leader, right? So that is much more meaningful than just saying I'm very proactive and I'm this and that. So yeah. Now GPA is listed over here. So here's the thing about GPAs. The general rule is that, okay, if you're a student, recent grad, and your GPA has been above 3.0, it's good to list it. Okay, it's good to let the recruiters know. Because obviously being a recent graduate, they will be very much interested how you have performed academically. Now, but of course, if it's below 3.0, then it's better not to include it on your resume. It can be a reason why they might not, go ahead with your application. So it's better to avoid it. But be careful about the fact that, during interviews, they will talk about it. So they will ask you, right? So I have a question here. I just want to address that one quickly, and I will come back to all the questions later on, guys. But because this one is related to this slide, so we have a question saying, I see the education part is the second part of the resume instead of work. I thought work experience comes first. So that's not a hard and fast rule, guys. It really depends on what you want to showcase, okay? So this person has, chosen to show their education and technical skills first, and many people do that. It's really, like I said, what comes first is not really written in stone. You will see so many resumes with different format, okay? So somewhere you'll see that education comes last. Sometimes you see that, experience comes first. So it all depends on how you want to tailor your resume. So for example, if you have a lot of working experience and if you feel you can add all these amazing keywords in your experience and you have a lot to demonstrate, put it first, okay? But this is a call that you have to take. There's no rule that this needs to come first. All right. So where did I go? Sorry. Also, like in this resume, we have no mention of high school, so that is a good thing. They have mentioned all activities, everything from their college. Another thing is that so the coursework is not included, okay? But this is because this particular candidate has a lot of internship experience and they have a lot of extracurricular activities that they have been involved with. So he doesn't need to actually list down all the courses he took, right? Because all of his activities actually highlight the skills that this person has. Um, but anytime you will see that people will put, oh, introduction, I took introduction to marketing, or I took introduction to computer science, or I took introduction to communication, right? So I think that is not important if you have very, very good internship experience or extracurricular activities. But of course, if you don't have any of that, okay, if you have not been involved in any activities on your campus, okay, you might need to list the courses you took, but make sure that the ones that you're talking about are high-level courses. So maybe the ones you took in fourth year, and not the introductory courses. Okay. Now, it doesn't use pronouns, so a lot of times you will see that on resumes, people will talk like saying I or me. So it does sound like it does sound odd. So just don't do that. Another very interesting thing over here and very, very good thing is that this person has used action verbs to describe roles and responsibilities, right? So they, the focus is on what he has accomplished and how he contributed to the end result. So that is very important, okay? Because especially when you're new to workforce, right, you may not have many major accomplishments or contributions, but you can use like words like, I created or I led, I managed, I developed, or I built, to describe your activities. Also, this resume does not include a list of references, which is awesome. So like I mentioned earlier, as an early professional, you only get one page of a resume. So don't waste it with that information. Cut the references available upon request from your resume. I would actually like to show you another example of a resume. This is actually one of the CV was actually published by Business Insider, okay? And this is a real CV, okay? So this girl, Katie Simon, actually took a lot of time drafting this resume of hers, and it got her interviews in like the top companies and lots and lots and lots of startups, okay? So this is a good example. As you can see, it's very neat, it's very clean. It's short, it's concise, it's to the point. So maybe you would want to have a look at this. So like you can see over here, education is way at the bottom, skills come second last, her experience comes first. So there's no hard and fast rules. It just needs to be relevant and to the point and impactful. That is the most important thing. All right, so that brings us to the end of our session. I'm going to go through the questions now. Right, so let me just go up. All right, so one of the first questions is, I have been to interviews where I get to ask to fill in the gaps because I left out some irrelevant work experience. How do I go about that in my resume? So you went to an interview and they said, why didn't you include that particular work experience, I'm guessing? So, okay, it could be that, to you, like I mentioned in the webinar, that, to you, it might seem very, very irrelevant, okay? But maybe some of the skills you earned in that particular work might be very useful. So resume requires a lot of time and effort, and you really need to think about what is important, what skills are important. If I put in this job, do you think the skills I earn can be used at in the corporate world? And sometimes, you think, nah, it doesn't matter. Like, for example, I gave you that thing about the library, right? So this, like, if a person has worked at the library in the summer job, they might think, oh no, that was not important. But it is, because it taught them some great skills. And these days, corporates are so focused on soft skills, guys, that it's really, really important. So take some time out, okay, to go through your resume like that. All right. Then I have another question. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm just going through it one by one. What about initials on the email? My full name is, you think? Yeah, that's a good email address, Ronald. It's not unprofessional at all. By unprofessional, I literally mean like funny words, like fairydust@gmail.com or princess93@gmail.com. So things like that. All right. Okay, then we have more questions. One second. So, guys, be a bit patient. All right. Do you need demographic information like age, race, date of birth, and such in a resume? So, to be honest, this depends on the region. Okay. So, for example, like in the West, it's known to be like a really, really bad thing if you include your nationality, your gender, your age, because they should not be affecting the hiring process, right? It's personal data. It's extremely confidential, and they should not be caring about where you're from or how old are you or any of that. They should be focusing on hiring the best candidate possible. But unfortunately, I have seen in a lot of places they are asking for that. So it really depends on your area. So do a bit of research, and if that's a generic norm, then go for it. Otherwise, no. Okay. All right. So next question: is there a comprehensive list titles or parts of it that one can decide? Do you have to provide a description of the company you work with? So Abraham, I'm not sure if you were able to join in the beginning, but let me just show you something. Right. So here we have the key components of the resume, okay? And usually it contains the contact information at the top, then there's a summary, then we have skills, professional experience, education, and volunteer and extracurricular activities. I did mention that this is not a hard and fast rule, guys. Education may come first, summary may. So this is not in any particular order, which is why I have not numbered them. So they're just bullet points, and you can choose to put it however you want. And sometimes you might not see the same words. Like, there's so many different formats of a resume, but this is more or less the generic format that you see. You will have these components. And then there was a second part of the question. Do you have to provide description of the company you worked in? No, you don't have to do that. You can probably just like put in a link to their website. So for example, let me show you over here. See, in this one, they didn't even do that. But for example, over here, every company that she worked for, she just put in the website for it. So either you can do that, or you can just have like one line, but I don't think that's needed at all because you're more focusing on filling up space with relevant things. So you can just put in a link for their website. And of course, like if they want to know more, they can always ask you in the interview. Your resume is too short to give that sort of detail. Right. Then we have another question. All right, can you send the recorded video? Varud will do that. Um, when should I write a CV or a resume, or the company will mention it? Right. Okay. So, Salma, you should write your CV or resume, and most probably resume, while you're planning to graduate, I guess, or if you're planning to, it can be even during university. If you're looking for an internship, you should always have this. The company will never ask you unless you're going through reference. Like, for example, if you know somebody in another company and you're going to be getting a job there, and then they say, oh, so okay, send us your resume. All right, that is the only situation when they will ask you for your resume. Otherwise, you need to send them your resume, right? So on all these job postings, they will ask for a resume. That is the standard. That is how they're going to decide whether they want to hire you or not, right? So you need to build your CV. Start building it when you're in college. Think about it. What experiences you're having. If you're applying for an internship, then even before the final year, maybe in third year, second year, you're gonna start writing that. And your resume is an ongoing process. Okay, so it's never really finished. So you always need to go back to it. You always need to refine it. You always need to add more relevant things to it, and then that is when you will get that perfect resume, right? So yeah. All right. Any more questions or anything else that I may have missed? Okay. So we have a question from Nishant. Is CV is a summary of resume? No, it's not. So basically, we went through it in the beginning. So CV and resume are very different. Wait, I'll just take you to that slide. But so basically, resumes are very concise. They're usually like a one page or something, and CVs are more credential based, and they provide like a very detailed description of your education, your certification, your awards, your any sort of activities. Whereas resume, also like it will talk about your work experience, your skills, your achievements, but it's going to be very short, to the point, and it's more competency based. So there is a difference. Anything else, guys? All right. So if we don't have any more questions, then okay. Oh, we do. Um, okay. So Arana is asking, when sending CV and application, is it one document or separate? Well, I mean, your resume is a separate document altogether. You'll usually be asked to upload your resume on the application portal, right? So you need to probably upload that, and your application itself would be like the whole thing, right? So, for example, if you're on the job portal, it'll be they make you fill out like different sections, and then they ask you to upload a resume. So that would be your entire application. Now, if, for example, you came across a job on LinkedIn or Indeed, then that way you will probably send your resume with a cover letter. So that would be your entire application. We have another question. Do recruiters have time to scan a QR code added to a resume? No, they don't. They will not do that. There is no time. They are so busy, and they will probably, for one job posting, they're probably going to have like hundreds of resumes. There's maybe one in a million times that they'll actually do that. So don't do that, guys. All right. So thank you for joining this webinar. Don't forget to join our Facebook group And also, if you have any more questions, you can email me. My name is Fatma, and my email is in the slide, in the last slide. We will be uploading the presentation and, of course, the recording of this webinar. All right, okay, thank you so much. I hope it was really helpful for all of you. And don't forget to join me again on Monday for how to build your LinkedIn profile. And don't forget to do the survey. Varut has just sent you a link on chat. Please click on it and give some amazing feedback, okay? All right, thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Fatima, for the interesting topic, and thank you everyone else for joining us today. Please stay tuned for our next webinar on how to create a powerful LinkedIn profile, which I'll be sending the webinar event page here on the chat. First, you will have to join our Facebook group, which I just shared the link for our Facebook group. You can just check all of the updates about the upcoming webinars, and we post the recordings, the presentations on there. Since many of you have asked for this recording, this we can provide in a couple of days. But for you, we have I just shared a link. This link has all of the previous recordings and presentations, and also this presentation that Fatima just have walked you through. So on this folder that I've just shared, this link, you can find the previous presentations and recordings and today's presentation. Also, like Fatima mentioned, please do this very quick survey and share all of your feedback and comments over this webinar and the webinars in general. If there is any way to enhance this webinar series, topics that you want to add, we are more than happy to listen to your feedback. This is the survey link again. Please share your ideas there. How else I can access this information? So someone is asking, how can he access this information? I just sent a link. Can you access it? Please confirm if you can access it or not. If you can't, I can personally send the link again to you on the email, or maybe send this presentation to you on the email. Just please let me know if you have access to this link that I have shared before. I just sent it again. Okay, so the link that I'm sending now again on the chat has the presentations and the previous recordings and presentations for all of our webinars. I would recommend that all of you need to check this link like every day, because we keep on posting recordings and presentations there. Okay, great to know. Okay, now you can access the link and of course check the previous webinars and presentations. Okay, good. Okay, do you have any questions or any requests or any feedback over this webinar or the webinar series in general that you want to share with us on the spot right now? We would be more than happy to listen to you. I also want to share one more thing with you guys. So we recently, like at the beginning of this webinar, we shared a poll with you. We wanted you basically to answer the question, which is like, have you used IBM Digital Nation Africa platform before? And these were the answers, in case any of you is like interested to know what the others have answered. So like 11 out of 15 answered that yes, they have used it before, and like one only did not hear about it. So I hope that was helpful for you. This webinar was helpful for you. Ronald, you don't need IBM credentials to log into to this folder. It's publicly accessed by anyone. It shouldn't prompt you to log in anyway. We can, if you shared your email, we can discuss this offline.
This is publicly accessed. You don't have to log in. Ronald, please share your email with me and let's discuss this offline. I'll send you the link again on your personal email and we can discuss it, and I'll help you to get your recordings and presentations. Please share your email with me. Okay, I just got your email and I will talk to you offline on your email. Okay? If there's anyone that doesn't have any more questions or concerns, any feedback, then I'll close this webinar session and I will wait you guys for the next one on the soft skill series, which will be about how to build or to create a powerful LinkedIn profile. So we'll meet you then, and have a nice day, everyone else. Okay, thank you all, and see you soon. Goodbye.